High in the hills of Riau province, the haunting call of the native gibbon heralds each new day. The forest canopy conceals some of the world's rarest wildlife, including the endangered Sumatran tiger.
Baru tadi kita lihat-lihat ke sana nggak ada.
Camilla Parakasia and her team from the World Wildlife Fund track tigers searching for paw prints on the forest floor.
Iya kan ini agak-agak berpasir toh.
The magnificent predators have long been regarded with awe.
Local people believe that tigers are their elders, the most respected ones. It's kind of like their guard, you know, to say that, hey, you're doing something bad, so I'm coming down here, I warn you.
The team places cameras in strategic parts of the forest and sets them to automatically film passing tigers. When they get lucky, it's a sight to behold.
So it's a thrill for us. It's just amazing feeling to see these cubs and healthy cubs playing.
The Sumatran tiger has roamed here, isolated from the rest of the world, for at least 6,000 years. But their territory is under relentless assault, and now less than 400 tigers survive. Around 60% of Riau's forests have already been cleared to make way for vast palm oil and pulp and paper plantations. The tiger team's videos say it all. A male tiger sniffs the camera. A week later, bulldozers move in. The next day, another tiger wanders through the flattened land.
I feel really sorry for the tigers because definitely it's really a bad sign for their future. There will be more forests destroyed.
As the forest is cleared and replaced with plantations, the tigers are running out of room. And without the natural protection of the jungle, they can more easily fall foul of poachers. Just last month, this tiger was found in a plantation, snared by a trap. After several days in agony, wildlife officials were called in. They shot him with tranquilizers, then he died.
It breaks my heart because they have a right to live here. They even here before us. Somehow people just keep, you know, taking so much from them. First they're taking their home, they're taking down the forest. It's hard to imagine when there was still forest.
Tracking tigers is a dream job for this recent university graduate, but Camilla wonders how long it may last. And with one of the world's biggest pulp and paper companies based here, pressure is growing. Asia Pacific Resources International Limited, or APRIL, is logging forest and planting acacia trees in Riau's prime tiger territory.
The APRIL concessions are located in different parts in the landscape, and one of them is here right at the border with the wildlife reserve.
The plantations look green enough, but conservationists say they're a biological desert.
Before the plantation exists, it was a forest, and if I were a tiger, I would feel sad, angry, confused. I don't know to whom I should talk to get back my home.
Some of the worst forest destruction I've ever seen anywhere. Some of the fastest and most intense forest loss is happening there.
Now home in North Queensland, one of Australia's most experienced forest scientists, Bill Lawrence, toured Rio with April earlier this year. He's still shaken by what he saw.
I thought I'd seen, impressive deforestation in places like the eastern and southern Amazon and parts of Africa and other places. But what's happening there on just sort of a large industrial scale is pretty daunting.
As April's machines move in, they level all before them. While the company waits for its plantations to grow, the native forest provides valuable wood for its mill.
Our goal is to finish conversion as soon as we can and be 100% plantation fiber.
Ideally, what you want to be doing is focusing on areas that have already been cleared. But when you're going in and just mowing down vast expanses of forest, and as I understand it, it's something on the order of about 70,000 hectares this year. So imagine clearing 140,000 footy fields of tropical rainforest just in 1 year to feed this giant pulp plant. I mean, that's really alarming. It's almost, an ecological Armageddon.
April's mill churns out more than 3.5 million tonnes of pulp and paper each year. This sprawling factory is an elaborate one-stop shop. High-grade copy paper whips along at 100 kilometres an hour. However, these blocks of A4 will be familiar to many Australians. They're on the shelves of one of our biggest office suppliers, Officeworks. Fuji Xerox sells them as well. They've even got a green label lauding the use of plantation wood.
I think they're greenwashing. They're just basically trying to convince us they're doing the right thing by the environment, but in fact, oftentimes what they're doing is pretty paltry.
The view from the company's helicopter reveals an operation of staggering size. Our tour guide is April's Director of Operations, David Kerr.
So this is the biggest mill on the planet. The biggest. Yep.
The mill is fed by a patchwork of plantations where native forest once stood. Little's left beyond slender fingers of forest on rivers and streams. April says its land management stands in stark contrast to the illegal logging and burning that scars neighbouring property.
What we're doing is we're doing it in a responsible way in line with what the Indonesian government wants. We don't do it the way that we're doing it. It can be even worse.
Why do you leave these single tall trees around the place? It's a requirement, a legal requirement to keep in some special species that we come across them when we're harvesting. They look pretty lonely. Yeah, they do.
Mowing down vast expanses of primary forest and converting it into monocultures of exotic trees, which are grown to be 4 or 5 years old and then cut down like you'd cut the grass and turned into paper pulp. This is not something I define as environmentally sustainable. It's something different altogether.
Near April's mill at Kerinci, the sentiment is more positive. The villagers the company introduced us to say their lives have changed for the better.
Nah, itu memang sangat menggembirakan kan, dikarenakan sarana jalan bisa rapi, sarana pendidikan pun dibantu juga kan, sarana olahraga, sarana semua itu kayaknya stabil lah untuk maju bersama gitu kan. Nah, jadi ya sangat senang lah kedatangan ada perusahaan, ada masuk kemari peduli masyarakat kan gitu. Jadi masyarakat pun ya saling menghargai, menghormati gitu.
While April holds out its presence in Kerinci as something of a model operation, just an hour away we find a very different story. This is the Kampar Peninsula, where it's not just the clearing and tree felling which blights the landscape. Corruption runs as deep and murky as the Kampar River itself. Many of the companies here found a local governor only too willing to accommodate their operations for the right price. And if it wasn't for a diligent local police chief named Pak Sujiptadi, a catalogue of bribes and dodgy permit deals would never have been exposed.
Pak Suciptadi saat itu sangat luar biasa, sangat bagus. Dia tidak peduli dengan kontroversi atau tekanan dari siapapun di saat itu. Bahkan banyak sekali tokoh-tokoh politisi di Riau saat itu menghujat mereka dan tokoh-tokoh masyarakat yang saat itu menghujat dia tidak peduli.
Sujiptadi stunned locals like environmental activist Zulfami, who were used to having their concerns swept aside by powerful officials. He investigated both the big companies and their smaller suppliers.
Di belakang saya ini terjadi kerusakan hutan yang sangat hebat, yaitu akibat perizinan yang salah.
The local governor was convicted of taking bribes in exchange for forestry concessions. He'd even cashed a cheque for $250,000 written by April's Indonesian subsidiary.
I'm not aware of that incident, but I will say that we run this company with the highest standards of corporate governance, and we don't stand for any of our employees to be involved in any illegal activities.
April says the cheque was made out to one of its suppliers to pay for a shipment of wood, and the company did not authorise it to be used in any other way. But the exact role of April's subsidiary and the other companies was never properly examined. The police chief was suddenly transferred, and his successor shut down the investigation, citing a lack of evidence.
Hancur harapan kecewa, sedih, marah, semuanya bercampur. Tidak hanya saya, tapi banyak sekali masyarakat Riau.
When a presidential task force looked into the scandal in March this year, it was concerned enough to urge the police to re-examine the companies involved. While the government officials have been jailed, the companies have still got their plantations just behind this tree line, and their seeds of corruption will probably still grow into healthy profits. Community leader Jasri Nando grew up on the Kampar River and watched as the once familiar landscape was turned into this.
Semuanya menolak dari awal. Setelah itu mungkin ada untung-untungan dari perusahaan itu kan siapa yang kuat di dalam daerah itu akan dirangkul jadi satu persatu, jadi beransur-ansur menurun.
Nando is taking us to one of the striking remnants of the original forest.
Seperti alam kayak gini, kami tidak mau kehilangan alam ini.
It's a beautiful monument to what's been lost.
Ya perasaan marah sih, tapi kemarahan tuh nggak nyampe gitu, mau harus dikemanakan.
This tree marks another extraordinary feature of the Kampar Peninsula. Its roots burrow down into deep, wet, carbon-rich peat.
Well, this is one big peat dome. Right
Lafcadio Cortese from the Rainforest Action Network warns logging on the peat risks a greenhouse gas disaster.
There are these huge banks or reservoirs of carbon that has been accumulating over certainly thousands and maybe even tens of thousands of years.
April's plantations can't thrive in the damp peat, so the company digs canals to drain off the water. And when the peat dries, it releases great clouds of greenhouse gas.
We're seeing hundreds of thousands of hectares of deep peat being converted to plantations. Indonesia is the world's third largest greenhouse gas emitter, and that is coming not from smokestacks, it's coming from the conversion of these forests and these peatlands, which are emitting massive amounts of carbon. So there's a lot at stake.
April is only preserving the most sensitive site at the centre of the peninsula. The area is known as the peat dome, where the peat is the deepest.
In English, it stands for Orchid Lake, and it's a high value conservation area that we've actually expanded around it because it's a special place for us. Lots of biodiversity, buffered by our acacia plantations and thriving naturally in the bush.
April says it's protecting this delicate ecosystem by building new dams on its canals to stop the peat from draining too fast.
Overall, it's the real world solution in terms of keeping the high conservation value areas intact and establishing sustainability for our company.
The bottom line is that they're going to be lowering the water levels, and how that impacts the whole dome, the whole ecosystem, is really anyone's guess.
As its appetite for fresh forests and new plantations grows, April is spreading its operations out into the Malacca Strait between Sumatra and Singapore. We're on our way to the small peat-topped island of Pulau Padang. The mountains of logs on barges are an omen of the island's fate. Pulau Padang has a small but thriving economy, with locals making a living out of rubber and sago. Sago factories hug the coastline and sell the extracted starch to the mainland.
Saya bercita-cita, dan untuk generasi saya seterusnya, untuk anak saya khususnya itu.
Piran's family has lived and farmed sago on the island for 6 generations.
Dan saya tidak mau keluarga saya itu menjadi keluarga yang hanya pas-pasan, dan saya harus bercita-cita untuk lebih maju, dan apapun kebutuhan keluarga saya itu bisa terpenuhi dari saya memiliki kebun dari.
Piran says his hopes and ambitions are under threat because his sago farm is in April's new concession. Although he has long-standing deeds granted by the local government, that doesn't matter. He's been told the company's concession trumps the lot.
Aku akan merasa sangat kesal dan akan sangat sedih dan tidak bisa membayangkan apa yang akan terjadi pada keluarga saya, dan saya itu tidak bisa membayangkan apakah saya itu bisa melanjutkan pendidikan anak saya atau tidak, karena satu-satunya milik saya, satu-satunya harta saya itu adalah tanah. Kalau
April is already chopping its way inland. On the island's most remote coast, it's carving a swathe through the forest, preparing for more roads and canals. It's little wonder security is tight.
No, they're not letting us in.
Tensions here are mounting. 12 of the 14 village heads here have agreed to April's plans. But hundreds have turned out today to peacefully rally against their governor's decision to grant April more than a third of the island.
Kalau saya sudah masuk generasi yang ke-6 bahwa saya itu dilahirkan di pulau ini. Dan aku tidak akan membiarkan orang itu merampas hak saya. Saya akan mempertahankan kebun saya itu sendiri dengan menggadaikan nyawa. Dan apapun yang akan terjadi, saya akan berdiri di tengah-tengah kebun saya dan akan mempertahankan itu. Kalau terjadi perampasan hak saya dari pihak perusahaan.
Gathering at their local mosque, they pray for their future.
Dalam rangka memohon kepada Allah supaya kita senantiasa diberi kekuatan, supaya kita diberikan senantiasa kekompakan, tentunya dalam melawan apa yang selama ini kita lawan, yakni hadirnya sebuah perusahaan di Pulau Padang ini.
According to April, the people of Pulau Padang have nothing to fear, and instead it's offering them a bright future.
The solution for those people may be that they still can get to their land. It's a solution for other people in that area, and maybe that they can end up working for us.
Despite those assurances, the conflict turned violent. 2 days after we left Pulau Padang, contractors clearing the land for April were attacked at night. Their machines were bombed and one man was stabbed and burned to death. With growing concerns about community conflicts and the logging of natural forests, last year the internationally recognised Organisation for Good Forest Management, the Forest Stewardship Council, suspended April's accreditation.
Aku menyarankan seluruh manusia yang ada di dunia ini, janganlah terlalu memboroskan penggunaan kertas. Aku mengharap kepada seluruh manusia yang di dunia ini ikut partisipasi untuk menjaga alam, untuk melindungi hutan, dan tidak semestinya dan tidak seharusnya pulau-pulau yang kecil seperti di Pulau Padang kami ini.
While Australia debates its carbon future, Australians are buying ream after ream of paper made in the greenhouse gas capital of Indonesia. And the Sumatran forests, people and tigers are paying the price.
When I came back from Sumatra, I almost felt like I had a little bit of post-traumatic stress. I mean, I just felt at some gut level really disturbed. Just the sense that there's an environmental travesty ongoing here, and it's just alarming to sit here and watch it happening right before your eyes.